Chasca, Flower Feather Clan. Any disputes you need me to end for you? Depending on the situation, it could cost you a little dignity, a few drinks, or potentially a round of ammo. When you lose your way, gaining some altitude can bring some perspective. I'd have lost myself long ago if I allowed myself to be led by the whispers of the abyss. Surviving is tough, but taming the beast within is tougher. I'm a little out of practice these days. Any conflicts around? I'm in the mood for some peacemaking. Rain? My hair and feathers are gonna get soaked. Time for some preening when I get back. Huh? We're really gonna go flying in this weather? You think you can outrun a lightning strike? There's prey upwind from us. Be ready to pounce. The wind's perfect. Full speed ahead. The early Kukasaur gets the worm. So I made some breakfast. Any plans for the day can wait until we got some food in us. Afternoon. The sun shines strongest at this hour. Good time to take a break. Any plans for dinner? If not, let's eat in the tribe. They always bring out the best food and drink for champions. Turning in for the night? I've been flying all day, so I should also do some gun care. Back when the Flower Feather Clan was responsible for patrolling and defending all of NATLAN, the flying squad was the best of the best, the fiercest warriors in the nation. To this day, the pride felt by many Kukasaur riders borders on arrogance. Me? No, I'm not arrogant, just supremely confident. When they first brought me back to the tribe, I didn't fit in at all. I felt so out of place, like an alien who suddenly got dropped into a human world. But Koichi and our parents, accepted me for who I was. I'm eternally grateful that I met them. And for that reason, I will defend their beloved tribe for as long as I live. With your skills, I doubt anyone in NATLAN would dare start something with you. But there are exceptions to every rule. So if you ever find yourself in a situation you can't brute force your way out of, be sure to come to me. I'll straighten things out. Thank you so much for helping with the Koya situation. I honestly don't know how things would have gone down without you there. She's nowhere near as hostile towards humans anymore, but it'll still take her some time to get used to them. Old habits die hard. Chime, on the other hand, loves hanging out with the tribe. She gets along really well with Yatlan and the other kids. Watching them play together, it sometimes reminds me of me and Koya when we were little. Anyway, now Mom's the one being difficult. I don't know what's gotten into her recently. She keeps nagging me to build a nest of my own like Koya. And she's all, maybe it's time to expand your family even further. Where is all this coming from? What are you smiling about? This vision played a major part in my fight against the Abyss. If it hadn't shown up when it did, I don't know who I would be today. People often find it embarrassing to open up about their childhood mistakes. Why is that? Whether you're a human or a Kukasaur, you can only grow by learning from your past mistakes. That's why I'm not shy about my history of mindlessly lashing out as a kid. Nowadays, I never draw my gun without thinking it through first. Even if just for a couple seconds. Or maybe half a second. NATLAN has a lot of very tall trees. You get great visibility from up top, and they're good places to launch off. You want to try? Don't worry. I'll catch you if you fall. Every Kukasaur falls from its nest before it learns to fly. Kachina didn't magically become a champion overnight. Her victory was a result of consistent, tireless effort over a very long time. She's an outstanding warrior who deserves all the honor and respect she can get. Ualani says we got into a fight as kids over some toy we both wanted, but I don't remember any of that. I wonder if it's because I got into so many fights that I just lost track of them all. I also wonder if it was actually her surfboard I was after, rather than a toy. I'll bet I just wanted the ability to go hunting on water. Whatever it was, I doubt our feud lasted more than a day. It never does with Mualani. She might come across as low energy, but make no mistake, she's one of the most diligent people you'll ever meet. When I asked her to build my gun for me, I barely put any thought into it. Just gave her a general idea of what I wanted and left it with her. Then when she started working on it in earnest, she spent an entire day questioning me. What would a typical day's flying look like? How often I was expecting to use it, and so on. And by the end of the day, there were abandoned design schemes all over the floor. I was so exhausted that I fell asleep even before she did. Then she wrote a whole maintenance guide, which she forced me to learn by heart so I wouldn't come bugging her with issues every day. Well, that's what she said. But I suspect her real reason was that she wanted to make sure I'd look after myself and fly safe. Some people compare me to the Pyro Archon because of my track record on the pilgrimage. It's a meaningless comparison. If the pilgrimage was a tree, and I was a vulture on the highest branch, then the Pyro Archon would be the sun in the sky. The stronger you get, the more you appreciate the sheer size of the gulf between you and her. I just won a few championships. She's the champion of an entire era. But at least being on top with a clear view of the sky means I can see exactly how high I want to fly from here. When I first saw Hao, I thought, oh, Kanich has a Saurian he treats like family too. Blissfully unaware of how far off the mark I was. Their relationship is truly one of a kind. Although I will say, Hao's mastery of the human language makes me pretty envious. I wish Mom could talk like that too, so we could do away with the whole body language-based guesswork game. My dad told me that when I was little, they gathered all of the most learned elders in NATLAN and asked them to come up with a plan for managing my abyss condition. They all disagreed on the best approach, and it turned into a drawn-out debate. At some point, Seat Lolly quietly left the room, and they were all too busy arguing to notice. When she got back, she put some food and wine down in front of her, ignored everyone, and just started eating. The table suddenly went very quiet. Just by looking at her, you'd never know how much seniority and experience she has. Koichi and my dad have discussed medicine with him countless times. So after I got back from the airborne workshop, the first thing I did was take Koya to get checked out by him. But he seemed so dismissive. He took one glance, said, "It's nothing serious, Cusco can handle it," and then immediately left to deal with another patient. He was right, of course. I was just worrying too much. I've always felt that training oneself and training others are two very different skill sets. Very few people have them both, but Iansan has them in spades. I, for one, am not very good at teaching other people. Whenever I'm trying to demonstrate something to the flying squad, I spend forever trying to explain some basic, boring detail that seems intuitive to me. Only to have everyone ask, "What's intuitive about that?" If only Iansan could tutor them. I bet we'd have twice as many candidates pass the flying trials each year. Shame that our training program doesn't include flying. As a peacemaker, I know full well that violence isn't always the answer. But in many cases, having the capacity for violence makes people much more willing to listen to reason. The warriors of the Flower Feather Clan are a proud bunch, but the Kukasaurs are a prouder bunch still. Anyone who aspires to become a rider has to train relentlessly and then win their approval. Even me, and I was practically one of them growing up. It's only fair, though. Allowing a rookie to ride a Kukasaur into the skies would be highly irresponsible for both the Kukasaur and the rider. Sometimes, after failing the flying trials countless times and never winning the Kukasaur's approval, people lose all their motivation and decide to call it quits. In the Flower Feather clan, we call those people the wingless. But generally, only the most outstanding warriors even attempt the flying trials in the first place. Their fighting spirit may have faded out, but it will one day burn again. And until that day comes, we will quietly watch over them, just as the Kukasaurs watch over their unfledged young. I was never able to enjoy a proper, happy childhood. But when I was on the brink of death, Mama Bird gave me a new life. And when I was lost and directionless, Koichi gave me something to believe in. Behind me, I have my Saurian family, my human family, and every other creature in the family we call NATLAN. So I will not be defeated. Not by the abyss, and not by life's hardships. Watch me. I will transcend it all. Koichi hoped I'd become a hero. So, I can't give up. I have to stay strong, for her sake. But when the relic exploded and Koya dove in front of me, the same fear of losing my sister came flooding back again. Sorry, I don't really know who I can talk to about this kind of stuff. I usually push it to the back of my mind, but I feel much better now. Since I can't forget that fear, I guess I'll try the opposite. Remember it. Own it. And eventually, transcend it. Starting fights is more trouble than it's worth. Gets you into too much trouble. Now ending fights, on the other hand, much more acceptable. This is why I love being a peacemaker. Because the fights come to me. I'm just kidding, of course. The abyssal energy. Not because it affects me that much. It doesn't anymore. More because of how much it makes the people around me worry about my safety. Growing up by the sea, I mostly ate raw fish. And after I came to the tribe, I grew to love flash-grilled steak. Kukasaurs and humans have wildly different diets, but I enjoy them both. Anything with too much alcohol, I guess? Not because I don't like drinking. I just need to watch my intake very carefully before a flight. But you get some food where the scent of the alcohol is masked by other flavors. Looks tasty, smells delicious. So you take a bite and then... Uh-oh, it's a trap. I'm telling you, this dish plus a nice wine would increase the chances of mediation success by 30%. There's nothing quite like some good food and wine to put people in a good mood. This is, pretty good. Thanks. Was this meant for the Kukasaurs? Sorry, this isn't the kind of thing that they go for. Here, take this gun. It's loaded with 6 rounds, including an extra special one. Find an open space and try it out. Or better yet, fly up into the sky and do it there. Ooh, you got the special round on the first try, huh? Luck's on your side today. That was a whistling birthday firework. I made it myself. What are the other 5 rounds? More fireworks, of course. But they're the trial runs I made before the one you just fired off. The color's different, and they're not perfect. Next year I'll do my best to make a full 6 top-quality rounds for you. Huh. Is that a new bullet in the chamber? Need me to mediate anything? Tribal trouble? Or an all-out war, maybe? There's an urge to fight that runs in my veins. But now, I know how to put it to good use. Kindness should always be repaid, and merit rewarded. This is one universal principle that holds true for both the Kukasaur and the human worlds. From this day forth, no matter where you go, my wings and my guns will always be at your service.